As you can see, I'm a Colts fan. I got a little bit of flack because I posted the Gone Forever Andrew Luck minutes after it dropped. And I'll be honest, like my knee-jerk reaction, I was pissed off. I was like that pissed off fan. I was like, I'm gonna burn my Andrew Luck jersey and like. But you stop and think about it.
Yeah.
And what this guy, like the guy fucking got a lacerated kidney playing football.
Like just imagine.
He basically played for the Colts for 5 years under the Grigson and Pagano era.
Mm-hmm.
And they did absolutely nothing to protect him. The most,
what was
maybe
it? They kept taking like 7th round offensive linemen that never worked.
Yeah, they they drafted like 3 people before the 7th round on the O-line. And the whole time they're there.
All of them were busts.
Yeah, like how do you do that with the most promising quarterback prospect?
Yeah.
Maybe since, Manning and Brady and all those guys came out in the last 20 years.
Well, even imagine a world, right, where you're a team who has top 10 best quarterback of all time for years, right?
Right.
In Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, as he's falling apart and can't throw anymore, Andrew Luck falls in your fucking lap, right?
Yeah.
So you have one misery year.
Yeah.
And then you get Andrew fucking Luck. And they're like, let's not swim into the curve here. Like,
right.
Fuck him. He's good.
Yeah.
Like, let's do everything else but help that guy.
Yeah. Like,
and I mean, this is the thing, though. Like, how much abuse... Like, because everyone... This was the funny thing, because Colts fans were taking mad shit, right? Because my wife actually did the 5K in the morning, so she had tickets to go, and we didn't go. And I was like, fuck, the only meaningful preseason game of all time, we could have been there.
First of all...
But they were booing like crazy. You weren't the only one.
But first of all... Well, I didn't boo. I got over that quick, because I came twice. But first of all, like, the people booing... they're the lowest common denominator anyway. They're the people that are still there in the 4th quarter of a preseason game.
Yeah.
First of all, like, what are you doing there? You get preseason tickets for free. You pop in for a quarter, have a couple of beers.
Yeah.
And you're like, on down the road.
It's great,
I'm not
too.
sitting in my seats for 60 minutes going, come on, we got to get this one. It's a big game. Like, fuck off.
Yeah. No, and also the videos I saw of the booing, like I know Barstool put one up. It's in like the cheapest nosebleeds too. And so it's just a bunch of Uncle Rico's like, if I had gotten a shot.
It's the lowest common. You don't want them as fans anyway.
No.
Fuck those people.
No, but I think that's the thing, right? There is the initial of like, oh man, we're fucked now.
Yeah.
So I understand the initial reaction, but I think like you, right? Logical people sit there and you're like, dude, it's hard. Like the worst take on this, right? I saw what's his fucking face? Doug Gottlieb, right? The worst sports personality ever who fills in for Cowherd. And he's like, it's the most millennial thing ever to quit. I hate that take. And then I also hate the other take where it's like, it's not like he has a real heart. Like he was talking about, this is hard, man. It's a hard, lonely process. It was terrible for me. I'm not living the life I want, right? Which a normal person, anyone else is like, if your job fucking sucks, why can't you quit? And so, but the take was, I fucking read this on Twitter ad nauseum. Mm-hmm. It's not like he has a real job. He plays football. And it's like, okay, guy who works at, said warehouse, I'm going to set you out there with no protection and let fucking J.J. Watt snap you in half.
Yeah.
How long do you think it is until you're fucking in rehab forever?
There's 6'7", 300-pound men that are just muscle-bound freaks.
Yeah.
And their only goal
and that's the bad
is
ones.
to destroy you.
Yeah, for sure.
Every play for 60 minutes, 16 times a year. And it takes that is a real job.
And this is the thing. It's not like basketball where you're like, all right, not as competitive. Basketball, I can see that argument a little more. Maybe baseball. In football, every single play can be the last time you can walk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that could happen in any football game.
Yeah, like the chances are exponentially higher than any other sport. Yeah.
So Andrew Luck's getting ready to throw. It's obvious he's had very little offensive line help. And fucking some monster comes around the edge and fucking blindsides him. Mm-hmm. He's had ribs, kidneys, all kinds of fucking injuries. And for people to just say, well, he's playing a children's game. No, he's not.
No,
these are not fucking human beings that play football. Like these are, it looks like us, but then, 1.5 times the size with freakish speed. It's crazy. Like the fact that people can just say, just stand out there and keep getting fucking obliterated.
I remember I met Anthony Costanzo as a lineman for the Colts.
Yeah.
And it was early on in his career, and I was like, I was like one of those guys like, we drafted pretty high for him. He's not that good.
Yeah, right.
He must be a softie. And I saw him in person, and he touched the ceiling.
Yeah.
He's like 6'7", and I was like, that guy's in no way a pussy. Like, have you seen my twink body?
Yeah.
Compared to, like, no way. Like, I'm
and you're
never,
like an average size
no, and
man.
like, that's what it was. Like, I'm never going to talk shit about these guys again.
No.
Like, he's out there getting murdered
Yeah.
for my enjoyment.
Here's
for
some
my
perspective,
enjoyment.
right?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I remember I was in wrestling camp, right? We're in Big Ten country. And so I went to a wrestling camp, right? It was in middle school, I think. Brock Lesnar was at the time a champion, right, at Minnesota. He was there. And I remember walking into camp and you're just like, what the fuck is that thing, right? Like, it felt like a King Kong movie.
He's a bad man.
What the fuck? He's so huge. And his fucking traps go all the way to his earlobes. And his hands are fucking massive. He went on to be a WWE star, a UFC heavyweight champ, right? And people talk shit about him, but if you can beat anyone in the world who was a heavyweight champ, even if they're not in their prime, you're a bad motherfucker,
you're
right?
Good, yeah.
You're in a small percentage
you're
of bad
better at
motherfuckers.
fighting than me. Yeah.
And Brock Lesnar, that gigantic man I met, was not practice squad capable in the NFL. The Minnesota Vikings were just like, no thanks.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's one of the biggest, scariest men ever.
Yeah.
And they're like, no thanks.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of person we're talking. Like, go watch James Harrison workout videos, and he's small for the NFL.
Yeah, but he smokes people,
right?
man.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, anyone who talks shit and they're like, "Well, I have a real job. I work a 9 to 5. Woo!" Like, I would do it. I'd play fucking football
like,
for all the money. Let that fucking man, let James Harrison fucking spear you 10 times.
It's like the movie,
and then talk.
The movie Airplane, when the kid's like, "You're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar," and he's like, "My dad says you don't hustle," and he's like, "Yeah, well, tell your dad to chase Bill Laimbeer up and down the court for 48 minutes."
Yeah, right.
Like, that's what we are compared to, you know.
And also, we can all imagine the dad and the fan who says that shit.
Like, I get it. You were
It's
good in
fucking
high
insane.
school. That's fun. But these are men.
Right.
These are men killing each other.